Boma had learned early in life that her heart did not beat like others. Sometimes it skipped like a frightened child. Sometimes it raised like it was trying to escape from her chest. And sometimes it simply hurt a deep, white ache that reminded her she was living on a borrowed time. And the doctors called it a congenital heart condition. But Boma called it her shadow. But if there was one thing her fragile heart never stopped doing, it was caring. Caring for the people she loved, and even for strangers. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and quiet desperation the day everything changed. Boma sat in the waiting room, fingers wrapped tightly around her file. She wasn't nervous because it's like a routine for her. She had come for another shake-up, another reminder that surgery was expensive, risky, and still far out of her reach. Across from her, an elderly woman struggled to sit upright. Her wrapper was neatly tied, but her fragile body trembled with discomfort. "Please, my daughter," she cried out. "Bikonu, nurse, I have been here since morning." The old woman pleaded weakly to the nurse. "Please attend to me. I'm an old woman. Let me go home and rest my bones." Before anyone could respond, a sharp voice cut through the air. "If you can't wait in the queue, please go to a smaller clinic." One of the doctors snapped at her as he walked past them. "I don't know why you people always come here and expect miracles, not knowing we are also humans as you are." The room felt silent. Boma's chest tightened, not from her illness, but from anger. And immediately, she stood up slowly. "Excuse me, sir." And the doctor came to a pause, annoyed. "Yes, what can I do for you?" "With all due respect, she's someone's mother," Boma said, her voice calm but firm. "She deserves care, not insults or bad attitude from a doctor like you." The doctor scoffed. "And who are you?" he asked. I'm just someone who knows that kindness is part of your job." A loud murmur spread across the hall. People in the waiting room started supporting her bold step. The doctor's face hardened out of frustration and replied her, "If you know so much, maybe you should treat her yourself." But Boma didn't flinch. She maintained her steeze. "If I could, I would," she replied. And for a moment, their eyes locked. Then the doctor eased and walked away, clearly irritated. Boma turned immediately to the old woman. "Hey, Mama, are you okay?" she asked gently, helping her adjust her seat. The woman looked at her, not just with gratitude, but with something deeper, curiosity. "You are so bold to speak for me. Aren't you scared?" the old woman asked softly. "Even when you are a patient yourself." Boma smiled faintly. "Mama, don't worry about me. Pain recognizes me," she responded. Few hours later, Boma was called in for her consultation. The results were the same. Her condition was worsening. Surgery was now urgent. She only nodded and thanked the doctor and walked out of the room with quiet dignity. But she didn't even cry. She was used to carrying storms inside her. But what Boma didn't know was that someone had been watching everything. The old woman. 2 weeks later, life twisted in a way Boma could never have imagined. One beautiful Saturday morning, after Boma has finished her morning chores, She was about taking her pap when she collapsed at home. Her mother's screams filled the compound as neighbors rushed to help. She was taken, ironically, to the same hospital, but this time, everything was different. She was rushed in immediately. Doctors attended to her without delay, and specialists were called in. Her mother didn't expect the urgent care, and it felt unreal, like a dream. They are going to save her daughter. She was very happy. As Boma drifted in and out of consciousness, she caught a glimpse of a familiar face, the old woman, standing beside a tall, composed man in an expensive suit. When Boma finally woke up properly, she found the old woman sitting beside her bed, gently stroking her hands, like a nervous mother who is so scared to lose her child. "Oh, my love, you came back to me," the woman said, smiling warmly. Boma blinked in confusion. "Mama, is that you? I remember you, but what are you doing here? Where is my mother?" She kept asking many questions. The tall man stepped forward. "I am Chinedu," he said. "My mother told me about you." Boma looked between them, still weak. "Told you? Told you what exactly?" she asked him. As she was becoming uncomfortable with his presence, the old woman chuckled softly. "That I met an angel in the waiting room when I came for my shake-up the other day." She smiled at Boma. Chinedu smiled faintly, and that angel stood up to a doctor who forgets that this hospital exists to serve people. And Boma's eyes widened slightly. "This hospital?" she whispered. "Yes," he said calmly. "This hospital is my hospital. I own it. And I am so sorry about how our doctor treated you the last time," he said, and silence filled the room. Boma felt her heart pound, not painfully this time, but in disbelief. "Why? Why are you helping me?" she asked, her voice trembling. The old woman squeezed her hand. "Because you helped me when you had nothing to gain, my daughter," she said to her. And Chinedu also added quietly, "With the help of my mother, your surgery is already being arranged. No cost, no delays." Tears welled in Boma's eyes. I can't accept this huge generosity." "Ah, you must, my child," the old woman interrupted gently. "Let me repay kindness with kindness. Besides, your condition is critical right now," she added. After 8 hours, the surgery was successful, and for the first time in her life, Boma felt something unfamiliar. A steady heartbeat, a promising future. But life wasn't done weaving its story. Recovery brought frequent visits from the old woman, Mama Grace, and her son, Chinedu. At first, it was simply concern, then conversations about her family and her life in general, then laughter. Right there, they made a connection. Then something deeper. Boma noticed how Chinedu listened and cared for her, not just to her words, but to her silence. And Chinedu noticed how Boma, even after everything, she still worries about others before herself. One evening, as the sun went down, the sky was goldish outside her hospital window. Mama Grace came to visit her, just like she always do. She spoke what had been quietly growing in her heart. "I have been praying for a daughter," she said. Boma smiled softly. "You already have one somewhere?" she asked her. Mama Grace shook her head. "No, I found her." Boma's breath caught. Mama Grace looked at her with warmth. that felt like home. I want you to be my daughter-in-law. She dropped the bomb and silence filled the room. Boma turned to Chinedu, who just walked in on them, her heart racing again, but this time not from illness. Chinedu didn't look surprised. He simply smiled. I was hoping she would say that. Tears slipped down Boma's cheek. Why me? She whispered. Chinedu stepped closer. Because you showed me that strength isn't in power or money, he said softly. It's in compassion and care, even when your own heart is breaking. Boma closed her eyes for a moment. For years, her heart had been her weakness, and now it had become her miracle. She looked up at them slightly. This unexpected family, life had given her, and she smiled. Then I won't say no. So before she was discharged, her mother had already informed their kinsmen, and all the preparation was in place. Boma's life story teaches a powerful truth that many people ignore in today's fast-paced, survival-driven world. Kindness is not a weakness. It is a seed that can change destinies, including your own. In a world where people often patronize their own struggles, Boma chose differently. Despite living with pain, fear, and the consistent reminder that her life could end at any moment, she did not allow her suffering to make her bitter. Instead, she allowed it to make her compassionate. This shows us that true strength is not measured by how much pain you avoid, but by how much love you still give despite that pain. And one of the deepest lessons here is that pain can either harden your heart or soften it, and the choice is yours. Boma's condition could have made her self-centered, angry, or withdrawn from the world. But instead, she recognized the pain in others because she carried her own. When she said, "Pain recognizes pain," she revealed a profound truth: that those who have suffered deeply often have the greatest capacity to love deeply. Another powerful lesson is about standing up for what is right, even when you are vulnerable. Boma was not strong physically. She was a patient herself, fighting for her life. Yet, she found the courage to speak against injustice when a doctor disrespected an elderly woman. That moment teaches us that you don't need to be powerful to make a difference. You only need to be brave enough to speak. One voice, spoken at the right time, can shift an entire atmosphere. The story also emphasizes the principle of unexpected rewards. Boma did not help the old woman because she wanted anything in return. Boma didn't know who Mama Grace was. She didn't know help would come back to her. This reminds us that the purest acts of kindness are those ones done without expectation, and yet they often return in ways far greater than we imagine. Life has a way of rewarding genuine hearts, even if it takes time. And furthermore, this story teaches us that no act of kindness is ever a wasted time. In that waiting room, it seems like a small moment, a simple defense of an elderly woman. But that single act became the turning point of Boma's life. It brought her healing, restored her hope, and even gave her a new family. This shows that what feels small to you may be life-changing to someone else, and destiny-changing for you. There is also a lesson about humility in positions of power. The doctor in the story represents people who forget the purpose of their roles, whether in healthcare, leadership, or everyday life. Skill without compassion is incomplete. Boma is reminding everybody now that true professionalism is not just about doing your job, but doing it with empathy and respect for human dignity. And finally, this story reveals a beautiful truth about the love and acceptance. Boma spent her life seeing her heart condition as a weakness, something that limits her future. But in the end, that same heart, her ability to care, to feel, to stand for others, became the very thing that opened doors for her. It brought her love, family, and a second chance at life. This teaches us that what you think is your greatest weakness may actually be your greatest gift. Sometimes life will test you when you have nothing to live for or give. But if you still choose kindness in the moment, if you still choose to stand for others when you are barely standing for yourself, life has a way of remembering you. Because in the end, it is not the strongest body that wins. It is the kindest heart that is never giving up. Hello everyone, thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed yourself and learned a thing or two about the story. Please remember to like and share the story and drop your comments the comment section. And please remember to share this story to your loved ones, okay? See you all in my next story. Bye. Happy Easter in advance. Bye. I love you all.